Well, Dave, we just spoke with Roki. He as well as Tanner Scott went through bullpens today. How are you just seeing kind of those guys progress? Were you able to get eyes on them? What were your takeaways and how they're moving?
I think we're all heading in the right direction. Kopech threw one as well. So today was a busy day, on the pitching side. Guys are progressing. I think, I'm sure you guys kind of heard from Roki that kind of understanding, the American game and where his body was at, and I think that really encouraged that he took something from the experience to build on going forward. And just the other guys kind of progressing, and we got some reinforcements coming. But I think that right now on the pitching side, I love where our pitching is at, the depth of it, the floor, all that good stuff.
So with Emmett going today, does this mean that you all are going to stick moving forward with a 6-man rotation, or is this a spot start of such for him?
I think it's going to be another turn of this, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so just taking it kind of...
Yeah.
Are you envisioning Roki coming back as a starter, or are you guys still trying to decide kind of what his role is going to look like when he comes back?
I think, sitting here right now, I think obviously he is going to do a 3-inning situation this weekend and then go out and build up, because obviously he's a starter. We see him as that. You just don't know what's going to happen with starting pitching. So I think right now it's just more of just continuing to build him up, see how it looks, and then, if there's a different conversation that needs to be had later, but right now we're seeing him as a starter.
What can you reasonably expect from Roki when he gets back from vacation?
Well, I think that you can expect, I think that two things is, the performance side is one kind of ask, and as far as the innings and expectations. So, where you're at the calendar, it depends on, how his progression's going, which would answer the question of how far along he's built up, 3, 4, 5 innings, 6 innings. But I do think that on the other side, is on the performance side, I just think that I'm expecting to see pounding of the strike zone, conviction behind the throws, and just a better performer, just learning from the first, month of the season.
How much of that do you think is like how he's approaching hitters, like you just talked about? How much of that is like getting the fastball back to where you kind of ideally wanted it to be at the start of the season?
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think that, there was a little bit of maybe giving the hitters a little too much credit, pitching behind a lot, not trusting his stuff in the strike zone. And then you're talking about getting the fastball to where it needed to be, where he feels confident in that, throwing the fastball in the hitting zone. And then also just getting the secondaries, locked in. So I think that at the end of the day, I just think that Roki's got to believe that his stuff plays here, which we all believe it does.
I know you said obviously there should be time to figure out a role and everything like that, but is there a situation where he could be a guy who's in your bullpen in October?
I'm going to hold on that one. I think that, I do know that we're going to take the 13 best pitchers. And so I've been a part of many postseason rosters, and so we're going to take the 13 best pitchers. So, if Roki's a part of that in some capacity, then that'll be great. And if he's not, then he won't be.
I think sometime around the end of the month, or when he could be back, is still reasonable.
I think that's more of, it's just kind of, we're going to build him up, but again, that's where it's, if it's a 3-inning or 4-inning or 5-inning, that's all kind of, but from what I understand right now, we're going to try to get him up to, 5 or 6 innings and go from there.
How do you balance that, just of course wanting him to build up and also wanting to see him face big league hitters and just kind of with the rehab starts and things like that? How do you manage that?
Well, I think that, before we get to September, where we get an extra arm, you've got to be mindful of the rest of the pitchers and, having a starter take down a good chunk of the game so it doesn't kind of affect the, forthcoming days. So I think that's one thing. And I think that Roki just needs to pitch. And so he needs to build up, he needs to get repetitions, and see how, his arm being healthy and see how it responds to hitters.
Dave, because there was an acclimation early on, is that time away a little different than a regular player and even a bit more beneficial for Roki?
I think it's 100% beneficial. I think that it was a big adjustment for him, obviously, in every way. And so to be able to sit back, watch a lot of baseball, which he has done, he's very in tune with the game. And, watching how pitchers attack hitters and how hitters, respond to pitching, I think that's been very helpful for him. And it's gotten him to slow down a little bit, reset, to then kind of start afresh. And so I think that this break has been very helpful for him.
Is that Tanner's first pen since going there?
It's his first or second. I think it's his, I'm not sure.
With Mookie and managing him, I mean, as his manager, how frustrating, I guess, has it been for you that nothing just is seeming to click, and how do you balance trying to help him versus letting him figure it out?
I wouldn't say frustrating for me, certainly frustrating for the player. I think for me it's more of trying to instill confidence in Mookie. He's, as he said, he's doing everything he can to prepare to perform, knows his value in the club. I do think that his value as a baseball player has been certainly additive, speaking to the defense. And I think for me, it's not really, like I said yesterday, just really not giving him any out, appreciating that he's the best option we have at the top, near the top. And so I think that if that's not confidence from a manager to the player, then I don't know what is, right? When you're scuffling, you're going through it, that I'm not going to waver. And so my only ask for him, and I've told him this, is I want you to have as much confidence in yourself as I do, and it'll turn.
As we get closer to October, how important do you think the fact that he did kind of find something to get hot last postseason kind of help as he tries to not think about the regular season numbers this year as much and just kind of focus on getting hot again at that time?
I think that's important. We've talked about that, and the season is not going to be the season that any of us expected, and we have to be okay with that. But there's still a lot of season left, the most important part of the season, and so he understands that, and so his words are all he cares about is winning a championship. So he's going to be right in the middle of that. And we have 2+ months to kind of make that happen.
What's next for just Tanner and Michael?
There's still, it's I would say a couple more pens till they face hitters. I would say, 1 or 2 pens. So they for sure got another pen, and then they'll see some hitters.
Going back to the Roki, he said he pitched 2-seam today. How did that idea come from the 2-seam pitch mix? Is that coach's idea or his idea, and how it's going to be effective for him for next outing?
I think it's probably a combination of the pitching coaches. It is probably watching Shohei. It's probably watching major league hitters, and to have 2 separate fastballs, one that potentially could miss a bat, one that could put a ball on the ground. Those are 2 good weapons. And so I think that I appreciate that Roki's open to the 2-seamer as well, yeah.
Do you think that his attitude kind of got changed, him more flexible and communicating better?
I think Roki has been great in the sense of being open to, thoughts and different ways to kind of grow as a major league pitcher, because not always what he has done there will always work here. And so I think he's understanding that, and he's growing. He's a young player, very talented young player, but I commend him for being open to our coaching staff.
Do you think struggling early in the year has made him a little more open to some of that stuff and kind of experimenting with how he can be successful over here?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have any sense for how his command of that two-seam right now?
I don't, Alden. I think that he's got such a good throw, and, you know, Connor McGinnis, Mark Pryor are so good with kind of the throw, the grips, and it's not going to change the throw. And so my guess is that the command will be just fine. And again, to get the ball off the barrel, to put the ball on the ground, to get it early out, you know, that's kind of what that pitch is kind of designed for. Thanks, guys.